cause I can do it my way. Me making music's like shooting hoops in the driveway.
Sometimes the biggest impact doesn't start with a business plan. It starts with a need and someone willing to step up. Today's guest, Chris Harkins, didn't set out to build a multi-town sports organization with thousands of players. He just saw kids who needed an opportunity and decided to try. What began as a small volleyball league with 22 kids has grown into Surge Volleyball, a thriving community powerhouse built on grit, word of mouth, and relentless persistence. In this episode, we talk about what it really takes to turn a side project into something that transforms a neighborhood, balancing a full-time teaching job while building a league, making sports accessible and affordable, learning from mistakes, and never quitting when things get hard. If you've ever had an idea sitting in the back of your mind, something that could serve your community but feels too big, too risky, or too uncertain, this conversation is for you. This is the story of Surge Volleyball and what happens when passion meets action. Today on the show, we have Chris Harkins. Chris and I teach together, and it's funny, I've had a lot of people that I teach with because I feel like teachers happen to have a lot of cool side projects, and they're pretty smart, and they like to pivot. So, Chris, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, Mike, how we doing?
I'm good, man. It's good to see you. It's been a while. Chris and I worked together years ago, back in my Castleton alternative high school days. Chris is a science teacher at the high school and also at Castleton. So, Chris, what's the origin story of Chris Harkins? Like, how did you get into teaching? How did you get into volleyball? Tell me all about your your life, as it were, and just take me through how you got to where we are right now.
So it actually I guess the story probably starts with volleyball and ends with it, right?
Nice. Yeah.
I was good in high school, very good. My junior year, I was the Nassau County MVP. That year, I also played in something. They used to have Empire State Games, so I played Empire State Games that year. Like, I would probably say at that, considered one of the best players on Long Island, top 10 at the very least. Played a little club ball that year. Went out to California, played a little bit. So, I really fell in love with the sport. And I guess I bring that up before getting older, because when I college decision, I was like, well, I want to go to college. I guess I kind of have to, but I just want to play sports.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So I made a decision for all the wrong reasons and went to Kings Point Marine Academy, which is a great school, but not for a 17-year-old who just wants to play volleyball.
Yeah, and Kings Point is the one that is, do they have like a big, they're not maritime, but do they have a big marine biology program also?
No, it's a maritime school. So you go out to sea for, hundreds of days, like literally hundreds of days.
Awesome.
On merchant ships. Yeah, I mean, you think so, but kind of like a floating prison a little bit. You go on it, you touch land very infrequently, 3 square day, and you're working out a lot. It just sounds like prison a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen movies. It sounds cool to me. I've never been on a boat that long, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but.
But yeah, so look, it wasn't for me. So I kind of left there, and at that time, I kind of stopped playing too. So I'm like, all right, I got to pivot to something else. I'm like, I kind of wanted to be a teacher before this and a coach. So I'm like, all right, let's give that a try. And doing it now 18 years, pretty much both, like coaching and teaching. So, I think it worked out. I did play at Kings Point, and my sophomore year, I actually led the nation in digs. So
wow,
I was still pretty good as a sophomore there. And I only played 2 years, so I didn't have any more eligibility. I definitely would have been, that was volleyball in college was kind of in its infancy in the early 2000s. I would have been American at that time. They just didn't have an All-American sport. There were no All-Americans at that time. It just wasn't a thing.
Right. So
I was an all-conference player, but there was only 2 conferences in the nation.
You were in all of the conferences.
I was an all-conference player, but hey, that was coast, and then there was the West Coast, and that was it. So then I started working at Oceanside, and we were coaching, and other buddy were like, man, our teams are never that good. Like they just are.
Yeah.
So he was asking me, he's like, well, how did you become a good volleyball player? Like, honestly, like I played in high school, liked it. Like I played 1 year of club volleyball, and it was like a steroid shot. I was like, all right, that made me a much better player. And the next year I just came out that much better.
Yeah.
So we were talking more like, all right, more of our kids should play club. All right, great idea. So we bring it to all our kids, and they're like, all that shit's too expensive. We're like, all
For
right,
sure.
how do we figure out how to make this less expensive and more accessible to them? So we kind of teamed up with the school district, and we went into some meetings with some superintendents. They were good meetings, though.
Yeah, right. Sometimes you never know what you're going to get with those meetings, but this sounded like you had a plan going in that had nothing to do with teaching.
We were able to talk them into it, and they were a little wary at first, but we're like, listen, this is going to be great for the Oceanside community to have this. This is like another feather in the hat of Oceanside. Like our kids can play a club sport like right here, and
Yeah.
like they have Oceanside United for soccer, like they have other club teams that use their school. So it went good, and now we've been running for about almost 10 years now.
Yeah, I mean, for those people out there that don't understand what club is, I mean, when you play sports on Long Island, it used to be when I was a kid, at least, that the high school team was the end all be all. But as my kids are older now, I realize that the outside league is really where you learn the most, where you get to practice the most, where you really sharpen your sword because, if you're playing volleyball for 3 months out of the year at school, you could play the rest of the year, play against a high level amount of players, which is not maybe what you're going to get out of a regular school, right?
Right. And you're playing with, like, at least on my club team, like I go back and I look and, all right, we had a guy get a full ride to Penn State. We had another guy ride to Ohio State. We had players that played we had at least 3 or 4 really good D3 players in the CUNYs. So everybody played college. Like everyone on that team got recruited at a lot of D1s and D2s. So, it was high level stuff there.
So I guess I should have mentioned it at first. The name of the league is Surge, right? LI Surge.
Yes, that's the name of that's the name of the club.
The club, right?
We do a little bit of everything from club teams all the way down to a program we call Ripples that we have for fourth, fifth, and sixth graders.
So you had no background in creating a league at any point, did you? Like this was just something that kind of built organically out of just necessity, I guess, right?
Right. First year, we had a crappy gym, a couple of holes. We had 2 teams. I coached them both. And, a bunch of kids from Oceanside. We got a couple of kids from outside Oceanside, didn't know what I was like advertising and whatever, but, people found us and, we figured it out. We made a ton of mistakes and I've learned from them every year, but we figured it out.
Pretty amazing. I mean, I have dealings with club lacrosse and, with my kids, I just always assumed that those clubs were always there. And those leagues were always there. But I guess at some point, somebody had to start them. You being the guy that started it for volleyball. So did you map out what it might look like beforehand? Or you just kind of were like, we need this thing, let's make it happen? Or did you have a plan going in? Is what I mean to say.
No, you hear words in business like, oh, scaling. You're like,
right.
And I had no idea what I was doing. I was ready to make up. I probably made a million mistakes. But I guess the one mistake I didn't make was the willingness to try it.
Right.
I'll give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? And I still say that now. I'm like, all right, well, let's take this idea. All right, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, it doesn't work. That's the worst that can happen. How that's something. Yeah, that's something we focus on that a lot here. Everybody that I've spoken to that's either one started a podcast or I interviewed a guy who was, no joke, a rapper from North Carolina as a kid and now has put out a few new albums recently. Well, everyone says the same thing. The only thing you can do is try, right? And a lot of people, I feel like, get hung up on the will it, won't it work, but you never know until you do it, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, like that first year, we basically had 22 kids.
wow.
So not bad. That's 2 teams. It's great. I would say now, like with all of my programs a year, the amount of players that like run through my programs, whether it's tournaments, clinics, camps, club, probably like 4 or 5 thousand a year.
That is insane, Chris. I mean, 4 or 5 thousand, and I guess so. Is it just you as the head, or do you have a board? Do you have like a
Uh,
cabal?
me and
Oh,
Kylie run.
nice.
Uh, we have, you know, I probably have, I would say, at any given time, 60 coaches working.
Wow, wow.
Uh, like I would say that's more like a yearly thing. I would say between, yeah, like around right around that number is like would be an average year of like how many coaches we employ. It's great because a lot of Oceanside kids went through Surge
Yeah,
and then coach for us.
that's awesome.
We have kids that have played Surge and now they played in college a little bit, and we've been around for 9 years. So at this point, they're back living on Long Island at home, and they're like, "Hey, can we coach?" We're like, "Yeah, come on, let's go."
Wow. I mean, true story. I was at school today and I sent you this picture. There was a LI Surge t-shirt in the Lost and Found. So you are ubiquitous in the Oceanside community. So how far does it stretch? How many towns do you have?
No, no. I mean, like, listen, we run out of Oceanside. We use Nassau Community. We've
Mm,
used the St. Paul's Fieldhouse in Garden City. Another facility we use a lot is LIU Post in Old Brookville.
nice.
The teams have traveled, kind of tri-state area, Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York, DC, Boston. So we'll send teams
Wow.
that, but yeah, like around here, we just kind of we try to stick to the Southeast, and then we use Post a little bit for the kids that live a little further north.
I mean, you have a full-time job as a teacher also, and this sounds to me like this will be a full-time job as well. How do you balance your life?
I don't stop at all. Like even today, I got home and got on the phone with you immediately from doing everything that I've done tonight. But we hired a middle manager
Uh-huh.
who handles a lot of the day-to-day stuff. So like big picture, like big decisions, things like that, I'm still handling, but like, I'll go run a practice and show a coach what I want, things like that. But the day-to-day registrations, hunting people down for payments or things like that, like we have a manager that kind of takes care of that. It takes a
Is
lot
that
of it.
new? Is that a new thing, or have you had this person for a while now?
3 years now. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I can imagine that's going to make your life a lot easier. Uh,
Uh, and she's very like learns quick and very good at her job. Very
wow,
efficient. It's great.
dude, that's awesome. So it sounds like in the 9 years that you've been doing this, 8, 9 years, you've scaled. I'll use the word. You've scaled from a 22-person, two-team, practice to this gigantic league that is now. And I think talk to me a bit because we talked about this a few years ago. How the leagues that are around, they require their kids to travel all around the country, right? And you kind of keep it a little bit more local.
Yeah. So there's probably a time to travel around the country and probably, not one. So if you're one of like what I was telling you, Mike, when I played club volleyball, there was one team on the out.
Hmm.
Like I had Denham Riches for practices twice a week. Like so it was the best 10 players at that age on Long Island were playing together. It's probably like I don't even know the number exactly, but in Nassau County, there's probably like 700 girls playing club volleyball at each age.
Wow, that's
So it's
insane.
so in order to say like, hey, can't find competition on Long Island, like you probably can. You probably
Hmm.
don't have. When I was 16, I had to go. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like I couldn't take that team and play anybody else on Long Island that would have given us competition.
Right.
So that was like one of the main ideas behind Surge is like, no, we're going to do our best to stay local. We're not going to be too cumbersome on the parents in terms of travel. Like we've never sent a Surge team on a plane.
Well, it's funny, and we played even for lacrosse. We played a tournament in Rhode Island, and all of the teams were from Nassau County that we played. So, like, we could have played anywhere in Nassau County, but we're here in Rhode Island.
Listen, there's certainly value to it, right? Like the
Yeah.
kids love it. Running
Yeah.
amok around. Like it's awesome. I do it with my kids for soccer too. Like me and Timmy are getting on a plane in a couple of weeks and heading down to Tampa. Like we're gonna have a great.
That's
But-
worth it.
Yeah, like it's both things are fine, right? But looking for the alternative to that, like we have one girl who's like a very good softball player, but she likes playing volleyball too. Like, and she can't really do both
Mhm.
at these travel levels. So she does the volleyball with us and the softball with some great softball club I don't know the name of,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's that's a good point too. I remember when my kids were playing, my kid played volleyball in the middle school, but then volleyball interferes with lacrosse, or no, football in the high school. And so I was bummed because they both loved volleyball. And I frankly I actually wish they stayed with volleyball more than football. Just I find it to be a much more exciting sport to watch, and a lot less injury.
I mean, I have that argument all the time. I just wish, like for my kids, same thing. Like I wish volleyball didn't interfere with soccer. And
Mhm.
100 years to when we were in high school, it didn't.
Right.
Boys volleyball spring and soccer was in the fall, so you could do both. But they changed that year stupidly.
Well, soccer interferes with everything. Soccer is all the time.
Nuts.
What I find funny, just a sidebar on soccer for a second, every kid plays it, right? And you have kids that I have one of my co-teachers at the school I work at, her son is like, I think playing professional soccer at this point now. I don't know. He's got like a Peruvian coach, and they were playing at like not MetLife Stadium. They were playing in the city. He's like a bigger than a local, right? But then, are there any kids that go on to play professional soccer from Long Island? Because you think there would be at some point.
So yes, there are.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually like a good chunk of our national team is from the greater Northeast.
Really? I did not know that.
And they do soccer professionally, like starts at 9 years old.
Jesus Christ.
I know for a reason. But
Is your son playing professional soccer?
one of them. So the professional clubs, the MLS clubs, NYCFC, Red Bulls, they
Mhm.
start their programs and they call them their academies. If you make their academy team, like you don't pay for anything, like
Really?
travel, practice, like there's no tuition fees whatsoever. It's like a USA soccer rule that those have to be the best of the best and no one can be charged for that.
And they can't play on their school team, right? They're only start playing.
They cannot play school ball at
Aha.
all.
And why would they? That's pittance.
They make the old argument of like, you're going to be playing for us 4 days a week. Why are you going to go to have an English teacher teach you how to play soccer when this is what I do for a living. I'm a professional.
Yeah, you know what, Chris? It's funny you mentioned that because you have guys like you coach volleyball for the high school too, right? Or the middle school, I forget.
I actually quit that job, Mike.
You quit that? Okay. All right. Well, that's good because you have no time anyway, but
I took the women's job at Nassau, so I coach college.
oh, that's fantastic. What I was going to say was that you obviously were a almost pretty professional volleyball player, and then you started coaching at the high school, right? A lot of times you get people that are coaches at a school that are probably not even a great athlete, maybe played football back in the day, and now they're coaching. And so you're lucky if you get a person like you who is coaching versus the guy who wants $6,000 to coach baseball, who maybe never stepped a foot on the field ever.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, like sometimes these teachers just have to step up because no one else is doing it. Like, all right, well, I'm glad my kid has somebody there.
Yeah.
And I think coaching now, especially at the high school level, is turning into like a much more difficult job than it used to be. And a lot of times people would want to do it because it was fun. You got to hang out with the kids. It was sports. They wanted to coach. And now I
No.
feel like parents have made it one where like, it's, I just feel an athletic director could speak better to it, but I just feel like when they put out jobs for like coaching, it used to be like 10 people would put in for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have to talk people into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. It really is. I mean, I know my son this was his last year at Mepham football. Now he's done with football for good. He's going on to college, but um, you know, they went to the semifinals and he had, they actually had Moody. Do you remember Moody, who was he was Jackie stand-in for when she was out. He was his coach for 2 years, which was amazing. But parents didn't like him, and they got on the horn, and he was taken out, which is sad because that guy had all the heart in the world to coach Mepham football, and he was removed because some mouthy parents didn't like his approach to not playing their kid. Really, is what it came down to.
And that's the way it goes. And then if you think about it, like, we're all teachers. Is it worth losing like teaching job over
Nah,
co-
nah,
like, yeah,
not at all, not at all.
yeah.
So now now you have this, let me ask you a question. Is Surge self-sustaining? Like, are you dumping your own hard-earned money into this, or is it kind of like a well-oiled machine that it seems like it's growing every year? So is it growing every year?
Yeah, like financially it does fine. I mean, like I could like if I didn't have three children playing three sports each and had like hours after school to spend on it, would I make a lot of money? Probably, but then I would be coaching, I'd probably coach 7 teams. I would run clinics and I would just be there at all times. And that's great. But, as it is, it's more of a passion and a service. Like it makes a little bit of money. It pays all the coaches. I'm not dipping into my own pocket. The sweatshirt came for free. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it does well enough where it's worthwhile.
See, now that's the really the point of the whole podcast is the passion part of it, right? So, this came from like a passion of yours, volleyball, necessity, warranted that you needed a league and you created it. And now it seems as if this passion is sustaining it for you, which is amazing. Like if you can do the stuff that you love to do and enjoy it, and again, also provide a giant service to the local area, which is awesome too. Like I just feel like I wish more people would do that. I wish more people would take that step and provide something like that because look, I mean, number one, it sounds like you are a champion. Obviously, you have champion children, you're a champion yourself, so you have that ingrained in you. But the thing that a lot of people don't do, like we said before, was take that step, right? Like take that leap. And God forbid, if the 22 kid league didn't work out, no harm, no foul. You did a good thing, and that was it. But now, obviously, like I know you, and you're a quiet leader, kind of. You command respect just by being in the room. And I feel like and I've never been into any of your Surge practices. I know Jim has coached for you, right? And
Yeah.
the kids I know that have done it have spoken, very highly. Parents love it. I know I have a few kids that in Belmore that have definitely been through the Surge program and they loved it. So obviously you pick the right. How do you pick the staff? Like who do you vet them? Do you have like is it word of mouth? How does that work?
Yeah. So for sure, like word of mouth, like I said, players who played for us. What ends up happening too is we'll send out to the local college. So, I have girls that play for Adelphi that work for,
Hmm.
I've had girls, I actually had a couple that played Division 1 for LIU Post. We were just using their, like, they were like, hey, we're off. You need coaches? We're like, yes, we do. You would be perfect. And, you find like Division 1, Division 2 athletes, like these are great role models for all the girls that come into our program. Like, you just forget about the fact that they're going to be awesome volleyball coaches because they're great
Yeah.
players. what, like if you told me like my son's soccer coach played Division 1 soccer at Hofstra, I'd be like, this is awesome. This is
Yeah.
cool. So we get them like that. And then honestly, they like working for us because we're pretty easygoing by stuff. We give them enough freedom to do what they want. And then it usually is like they tell two friends. You know what I mean? Like I got a girl now and she's like, hey, Chris, we need an assistant for any team? I got another friend at Adelphi that wants to work with me. I'm like, yep, bring him in.
Done.
Bring him in. Yep. Yeah. So like a lot of like that, like, volleyball community is like that small community where like, hey, this is fun to do. We'll do that.
Do you have like a curriculum? Do you have like a set of standards as far as how practice should run, or how does that work?
So that varies age to age. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, definitely certain drills and certain practices teach our coaches to do. We try to be very like player centric, meaning like we're trying to develop the player and kind of worry of the game a little bit less. The game is more to like to showcase the skill sets that we're practice. That's for like the older ages. I would say like 13 through 18 is kind of like that. When they're younger, it's very, very skill based.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has to be fun. Like if they're not going to enjoy themselves, they're not going to want to do it anymore. Like they're going to, you're going to get the old like, all right, it's time to go to surge. It's time to go to practice. Last thing you want. So we do have like a running document I actually keep with all the younger kid coaches of drills that like I've created or found that I'm like, all right, this works. And, it's, silly stuff like freeze tag. And then to get unfrozen, you have to do a volleyball skill with ball to get out, like stuff like that. Clean up the backyard, put all the balls on either side of the net. And then they have to either bump or serve them over. And the winning team is the team that gets all their balls to the other side. They run around crazy, loving it, hitting the balls, but they're setting the ball far. They're bumping the ball far. They're learning these little things while they do it, and they're moving while they do it. So
it's awesome.
We have like set drills like that where the coaches know to do that every time.
Now, do you run like professional development for your coaches? Like, how do you set up for the year? Like before the season, I guess it runs all year, right? But is there like a time where everyone's on break and there's no practice? How do you get them all together? How do you do that?
So usually the first week, like the first day of the season, we just use LIU Post and everybody goes there. And all the kids like show up, they meet their coaches. It's like a brief meeting for them. Mm-hmm. So what happens, we just separate the entire gym, which is huge. I have 7 courts that I run at LIU Post. So 7 volleyball courts big. Every team takes like a little bit of a corner, if you will, and they meet with. Then Rob talks to all the parents on the bleachers to give them like kind of a parent meeting of things. Mm-hmm. And then I run the coaches through all like the stuff that they need to know. So nice. That's first like hour and a half of the year is just done that.
Wow. And then how do you handle, and I'm only speaking from lacrosse because that's what I know, but I'm sure some of these kids are going to go to college, right? Do you do like college coach looks? Like, do you help them speak to the colleges they want to go to? How does that work?
Yeah, so there are definitely connections I made now coaching college. So there's definitely phone calls that I don't have a problem making, but I also don't I'm not strapping another coach with a player that won't be useful there, and I don't want to put a player that's never going to play. That's no fun. It has to match up, right? So there's players like that, but the first thing I have them do is I have them get online. Like if they're really interested, like they need to have a field level profile. They need to have an NCSA profile. They need to have the digital recruiting tools out there. Then they need to start like coaches are going to hit them up if they got decent clips. They are like be able to write, come back in an email, that you're interested in this school, figure out like it does that school have my mate. Like there's a lot of like matching up that we do. But before I get involved, I check, like, because with the college coaching, I could check them on NCSA, I could check
Mhm.
them on level. Like, I check to make sure they do that first, because then if they don't do that, it's just talk, right? Like,
Right.
you're not interested enough to play in college to set up like basically two profiles, then I'm kind of not gonna be interested enough to help you.
Right.
But if
Right.
you are enough, like, all right, then we'll work together and then we'll go.
There was a cool, and I forget, my kids played on the True Recon lacrosse team, and there was like this website they used. It was almost like like a Facebook, like a social media, where you created a profile. I guess a lot of the college coaches in, Northeast and then Midwest were on there, and you uploaded videos, right? And it was super easy to do. It was really cool, like where the coaches would contact you through there. So it was kept all on this one um, platform, and they could access your videos. The team worked with that app Huddle, so anytime there was a game that was recorded, that went up there, and then you could also do your own sizzle reel and stuff like that. But I found that was probably the like beyond the playing all year, but that kind of way to contact a college coach was a really cool platform to use. And it was I say it was free. It wasn't free. We paid for it through our payment for the league, but it was great. And I think even though my kids aren't playing college, they're going to do club, but it was just a really nice way to, show them how the whole recruiting process works. It's definitely an interesting process.
Yeah, for sure. And like, look, there's a huge problem in the United States with all like Division I sports right now, and
Hmm.
that's the fact that a lot of these rosters are being filled out by Europeans.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's a huge issue. I have so many problems with it, but I wouldn't even go there. So, like, getting a Division I scholarship, like, very rare, right? Like, we're talking maybe one or two kids on Long Island a year. I don't have
really.
them at CERT, but pairing you Division III place, that's going to be a great place for you to play. Like, it's going to have your major. You're going to be an athlete there. Like that's more or less what I'm doing. Like, let's like Mount. You're going to love it there. Let's send you to Misericordia where you're going to have a great time and play volleyball. That's more of what trying to figure out like the right fit for a kid.
When I start my political podcast, we have to dig into why Europeans are coming to American schools to play volleyball.
I was told that if you are a member of the EU, they will pay college education if you go to the United States for 4 years. They will pay for the education as long as you come back immediately.
That is insane. You often wonder, and this is a total side note, why and how um, we allow so many outside people from different countries to come to our colleges and leave with our knowledge. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It takes like so many like opportunities away.
Yeah, and you don't see a lot of kids going to European colleges from here.
All right, you ready? Like just because Hofstra's close.
Yeah.
Ready? First one, middle blocker, 6'2". Magdalenka, Poland. All right.
Okay.
Next one. I'm literally going down the list. I promise you I'm not going to give you names, but I'm just going to read of origin. Next one, Riom, France. Brasilia, Brazil. Ooh, can't pronounce the first word, but Bursa, Turkey.
Okay.
Nicosia, Cyprus.
Okay.
Ulan, Brazil. Curbita, Parana, Brazil. Oh, Garden City, New York. Okay.
Wow.
First in Turkey. Belmore, New York. Belmore, New York.
Whoa, look at us.
All right, not bad. Belmore. We got a Belmore on up there. I'm actually pretty. All right, next one. Ooh, oh, I saw San Juan. I thought it might have been Puerto Rico. I'd be like, that's kind of a win for the United States, but it's Argentina.
Right.
Next one, Brazil. New Hyde Park.
Wow.
Argentina. Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I think it's at Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I don't know. I guess we'll call that.
I don't count it.
I mean, right there, like, I don't know how many players that was. That's close to 4, 8, 12, 16, 18 players. We had 4 Americans, maybe.
That is wild. I had no idea that it was even happening. That's crazy. And here you run a league of thousands of girls that would love to go play. Probably a lot of them would play D1 volleyball, and Cyprus is taking your spot.
Mike, I just picked Hofstra because it's the closest D1
Yeah.
that I could think of.
Yeah,
But I
it's
mean,
crazy.
like, I don't know. Better one, am I going to get more, like, foreign?
Probably.
No, it's gonna suck.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Well, Chris, what is next for Surge? What are you planning on doing? Are you expanding? Are you branching out into soccer? What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I think there's actually some underserved sports. I think you'd love to. Oh, what a great business mind I am. You know, you'd love to be arrogant like that. I think a lot of it is right time, right place. You know
Right.
what I mean? I think I hit a growing sport in volleyball, like at when it started to really, really grow and take off. A great location where people can play and want to play.
Mhm.
So, like, I got lucky in those ways. But if I know how I got lucky the first time, why can't I just get myself into the same sort of situation with the same variables and get lucky twice? And it
Mhm.
doesn't have volleyball. It could be another sport, but like a sport that's underserved in an area that I can work with where people play. I think it could happen again. So, I got some other ideas for other sports, like take advantage is the wrong word, but like provide a service that's needed and
Right.
like that's what I'm looking for. So like one example, and I don't necessarily do this, but one example that I think would work. So feel free to take it because I'm not
Yeah.
doing it. There's a influx of Southeast Asians into like the Hicksville area.
Mhm.
Indians, Pakistanis, and they love cricket.
Yeah.
How many cricket club teams you see around? How many? Like 0.
Yeah. I mean, I drove by the Cricket World Cup when it was here over in Eisenhower Park last summer, and it was wild. It was insane. Like some of the games were kind of dead, but the big ones were insane.
Yeah. And when I was overseas, I was in Pakistan, and I know they love that sport.
Mhm.
So like, that can be somebody else's idea. Not like I know volleyball, like I'm very comfortable with it. Like I would obviously have to hire somebody who would be the me of cricket.
Mhm.
And that would certainly profits because that guy is pretty important to your company. But
Yeah.
I think that would definitely work if somebody was willing to put in the work and do it.
Yeah. Surge Cricket's it's got a nice ring to it. I'll tell you right now.
Cricket kind of sounds like, I don't know, like a wet pest.
I have plenty of crickets in my basement. I'm wondering if that's the same thing.
But like I'm always looking for like opportunities like that. It's just the amount of time I know that it takes to do. I don't know if I have right now. Like when these 3 boys stop playing sports and I have a little more time, like
Yeah.
maybe.
You got to teach
When
yourself how to
they're
play cricket first, and that's what it comes down to. I actually went and did a whole like when cricket was coming to Eisenhower Park. I watched like 4 YouTube videos on how it works, just in case I got a ticket. I never did, but I always found I was wild how they put that. You saw the stadium, right? They put that huge stadium up, and they took it down within like I don't know a week. That's wild.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So, Chris, if someone wants to get involved, send their girl to Surge or work for Surge, how do they get in touch with you?
So we have a website, lisurgevolleyball.com.
Mhm.
We have on there is actually all the content. Of course, there's an Instagram. There's And you know, it's all the same, LI Surge Volleyball, and it's lisurgevolleyball@gmail.com is our email address, which is always the best way to get in touch with us, because that middle manager we were talking about before, she just basically answers all of our emails and takes care of all that stuff for us.
All right, man. Well, listen, Chris, this was awesome, dude. I appreciate everything you're doing. It's a really great league, and you run a really tight ship, and you're a great teacher. And if there were more than 24 hours in the day, I'm sure that cricket league would be up and running. So, dude, it was awesome talking to you. I feel like I might just steal your plan. So, but this was great, man. I really appreciate you jumping on. And, dude, best of luck.
But thanks for having me.